All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session. This is the first session and the information session about the upcoming hackathon with Aleph Zero on techFiesta. I'm extremely happy to have Peter tonight with us from the Aleph Zero team, who will be telling us more about Aleph Zero and more about this hackathon. But first, I would like to introduce myself and shortly introduce the techFiesta platform where the hackathon will be taking place. So my name is Maria, and I'm the founder and CEO of Ecolens, which is the company that basically launched techFiesta and designed techFiesta, which is an online hackathon platform where we frequently host hackathons and developer challenges with Web3 protocols and Web3 companies. We have an upcoming hackathon together with Aleph Zero, which will start in the end of November. And until then, we will have a series of sessions where we will basically take all the developers along this journey to the hackathon and help them have the best performance possible, and of course, submit great projects. This is the first session, part of the hackathon, where we'll introduce Aleph Zero. Peter will do that. And we'll also talk about the expectations of the hackathon, what is the problem statement of the hackathon, and you will be able to ask questions regarding anything related to Aleph Zero and the hackathon. So thanks so much, everyone, for being here with us tonight. We're very happy to see you here. You can ask your questions during the presentation in the chat, or after the presentation, you can also raise your hand and ask your questions. So Peter, you have the word now. Please tell us more about Aleph Zero and your most popular use cases, and what is your expectation during this hackathon?
Sure. I mean, I have this pretty hefty presentation prepared, but I guess we can skip it if I don't know whichever way you think is better.
Well, I think it's always great to show a couple of slides. Maybe you can just skip through the slides and show us the most important things that the participants need to know about Aleph Zero that are necessary for this hackathon. And maybe you can present to us some good use cases that you have on Aleph Zero, so they have a better orientation, what to build, how to build. And then we can speak about the hackathon itself.
Okay, let me just very quickly share my screen then. Right, so it's my pleasure to be here, and also my pleasure to introduce the Aleph Zero blockchain. So we are an L1 built on top of Substrate, and the two kind of areas we shine in or we focus at is zero knowledge and privacy in general, and scalability, so performance so this makes us, of course, relevant to like everyday consumer use cases, but also enterprise use cases, which is something we will show in just a second. So, a few cool things. So as I mentioned, enterprise ready and high performance. So one of the ways we can achieve the high performance, so to put it in concrete terms, sub 1 second block and finality times is by using our own consensus protocol, using the directed acyclic graph as like an intermediary structure. So yeah, it's called Aleph BFT. I'm gonna talk more about that later. And of course, it's been published as an academic paper, peer-reviewed and everything. Notably, the network is live and has been for quite some time now, and the whole feature set is live on the mainnet, including smart contracts, staking, validating, and so on. So yeah, I probably will make this a bit quicker because some numbers. I guess this is really relevant to the smart contract developers. So first of all, like time to finality. So like the time to, if you're not familiar, like the time after which your transaction and the block becomes like, confirmed, is 0.9 seconds, so below 1 second. And this all results in like a very seamless user experience. Some people call it like the Web 2 speed, which I don't know if it's the best like marketing term, but definitely it's really nice to kind of do a transaction and see it appear. And also relevant for smart contract developers, the transaction cost is extremely low. So A0 now is around 80 cents. So you can do the quick math here. How cheap that is. Yeah. Oh, sorry, skipping. Yeah. There's a video here shot by one of our community members. Sorry for the music. Basically, he has two wallets and he does a transfer from one to another to kind of illustrate what's the speed that you'll be able to perceive. Just give him a second. Yeah. Send the transaction. Okay, seems pretty quick to me. Sorry for the outburst of music. Forgot to. Oh, come on. How do I? Oh yeah. So yeah. I kind of mentioned the speed and low costs and privacy features a bit. So maybe I'll just skip through it. So now about the use cases. Kind of all this combined means that Aleph Zero kind of lends itself to like IoT use cases where you have a lot of data and you need to trace a lot of sources. Low fees, high speed. It's all kind of like a real-time setting. So definitely one interesting area you could explore. Now on this particular hackathon, because it's online, we don't explicitly have a hardware bounty, but definitely it's something we've been exploring. So like using blockchain in combination with the real world, but the physical world. So like Raspberry Pis and Arduino. So I'm gonna talk about the bounties more a bit later, but if anyone has an idea, that will like connect the blockchain to the external world, or for example, like a smart contract triggering something physical, like a light flashing or a gate opening, then definitely I think it's a very exciting use case. Now, yeah, we kind of are leaning heavily also into the decentralized identity space. With the privacy aspect and kind of the enterprise readiness, it's a bit of a natural direction we can go in. And yeah, to that end, we're working with A0 ID, who's the domain system for Aleph Zero with some. They are already live on the mainnet, but the privacy features are coming. GateKnox is basically a KYC company, corporate KYC, KYB, and CoinFirm is an AML company that's helping us to build the whole compliance and AML framework around the privacy solutions. I think something very relevant to the hackers and kind of one of the arguments why would you like to build on Aleph Zero is our ecosystem funding program. So you can think grant program with additional perks. So support comes in more forms than just grants, than just financial support. It's also this whole kind of incubation idea where we help you shape the idea and possibly help you in the areas where a team might not have resources. So let's say this is a great developer team, but they might lack some marketing experience, or they will need help creating a business plan or some legal advice, or we have basically partners for all of the areas. So yeah, right now we have around 40 projects in the EFP, and definitely once you get acquainted with Aleph Zero and with development in Ink, and more specifically on our blockchain, then I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the website here. Some of the great projects come from the hackathons, so including the aforementioned A0 ID, but also I think we have a total of 5 projects in the EFP, so like 12.5%, if I'm calculating correctly, that actually are coming from different hackathons. Now I'm probably gonna skip Liminal because it's a very exciting like area of our blockchain, but one that first of all, I'm not a great expert at, and secondly, we are not having a privacy bounty at this particular hackathon. So I'm just going to quickly say that basically a team of cryptographers and programmers and mathematicians at our as a part of our team are working on basically creating this software-based privacy framework, as opposed to using some trusted hardware solutions that uses zk-SNARK and MPC to basically offer privacy enhancing solutions for the modern Web3 world. And this all is done with great care, and kind of also looking not only at the privacy perspective, but also at the compliance / anti-fraud perspective. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. There's a developer preview of the Shielder that you can check out in our GitHub organization. If you're willing to explore that, then definitely it's a very interesting area. Yeah, like I said, privacy is one thing, but we need to keep this compliant and safe for everyone involved. So there's a lot of effort that we kind of expand in this direction. Oh yeah, I already kind of went ahead of myself and mentioned it previously, but this is one of the stars of our ecosystem, and also a very motivating example for any hackathon user, because A0 ID, a project that is live on our mainnet and actually doing great, is coming from the ETH Warsaw hackathon. So definitely a good motivation to take part in the hackathon and submit and get to know Inc. And Aleph Zero development in general. Yeah, this is just an example of a use case more in the enterprise area, like European Securities Exchange. I'm not going to talk a great deal about that, just to showcase that it's also one of the areas we're exploring, or actually the teams working on the projects are exploring. Now, probably the thing that's most relevant to the hackers would be how this all works, and what are the building blocks. So Aleph Zero is built using Substrate. So similar to some other Polkadot chains, but importantly, it's not a parachain. It's a standalone chain, but of course it shares some of the characteristics that the other Substrate chains have. So if you're familiar with other Substrate chains, you probably won't have any problems integrating with Aleph Zero. The aforementioned Aleph BFT is our own consensus protocol that's kind of like plugged into Substrate, replacing its default grandpa consensus. And like I said, this thing is fast. And probably most importantly, the smart contract language for our blockchain is Inc., which is actually an EDSL, so embedded domain specific language built on top of Rust. So if you know Rust, you're at home. But also, actually, if you know Solidity, you will have quite an easy time making the switch, because most of the concepts are very similar, and setting aside the syntactic differences and some intrinsic differences between substrate and EVM, you will mostly feel that it's familiar. I'm not gonna talk a lot about ink. That's because I believe we have another session coming dedicated to ink smart contract development. So I'm gonna let my colleague shine here. I think it's in a month, a bit less than that, right?
Yes, exactly. We have a session, building smart contracts with ink, on Aleph Zero. In a month, it is in November, and we will leave the link in the chat to register for that session. I will do that in a moment. But yeah, basically there, everyone can learn how to build smart contracts with ink.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I definitely, actually, regardless whether you're taking part in the hackathon or not, but if you're interested in smart contracts, I will definitely recommend this session, this workshop. I think it's gonna contain an overview of actually the basics of Rust and the basics of ink. That's because Rust is kind of, well, it has the reputation of having quite a steep learning curve, but fear not, the subset that is used for ink smart contracts is actually very easily learnable. Of course, it has its own quirks, but mostly it's a very user-friendly language. So definitely tune in for the ink session and get started writing smart contracts. Yeah, so this would be more or less it when it comes to the information. This QR code basically points to the alephzero.org website. I just didn't want to leave an empty slide, and I wasn't sure that it's going to be included anywhere, so I didn't want to put just a regular link. Importantly, from the website, actually in 1 or 2 hops, you can get pretty much everywhere in the ecosystem, be that the documentation, the white papers, the ecosystem funding program page, the developer portal. So basically take a look around and you'll be there. And now moving on, oh yeah, I'm gonna probably leave this at the logo here. This concludes the Aleph Zero overview part. I'm sorry if this wasn't the greatest. I usually do the smart contract workshop, so this was the first one for me. But moving on to the bounties. So yeah, basically the bounties that we propose are very general and maybe generic also a bit. So basically 2 categories, DeFi and tooling. And we don't have any specific, use cases that we propose. Mostly, it's just, we try to keep an open mind, and if you come up with something cool, then we will definitely like to see it. DeFi. I think we're basically looking for interesting ideas and also paired with good execution. Obviously, no one expects the hackathon projects to be perfect working products, but I think the important part is that I think the projects that win hackathons share this thing about being kind of maybe being a sketch, but like a complete sketch, right? So they are usually solutions that start with this nice idea and then have some skeleton of the whole solution. So the nice working API, maybe limited but working well, and then this nice front end and thought through design, maybe not entirely complete, but yeah. So, and this is actually probably one of the criteria in the judging of the solutions, is that basically it has to work. The feature set might be very limited, but definitely the winning solutions work. And yeah, then the tool.
Peter, just to mention, I posted the different categories in the chat, so the participants here in the call can see the bounty categories in the chat. It's in the Zoom chat.
I can actually stop sharing. How do I do it? Oh, here, the big red button. Awesome.
Exactly. So the first one you mentioned is DeFi, create innovative financial applications using Ink.
Yeah. Oh, we do have the ZK bounty. I'm sorry. I'm kind of I'm kind of taken by surprise here. Okay. In that case, yeah, feel free to explore the shield there. I'm surprised because this can be quite a challenging bounty. So yeah, but if anyone is interested in this space, then definitely it's an interesting space and definitely a great learning experience. Oh, there's a question about the hackathon. Welcome. Yes, I believe so, but Maria, correct me if I'm wrong. About the
Hello guys, I'm sorry, I didn't find the unmute button. The hackathon starts in the end of November. I will tell you the exact date in a second.
Right. So yeah, the ZK bounty in that case, we have this shielder primitive that can be thought of basically as a private wallet, shielding transfers, and it's a quite a simple primitive, but it can be used to actually create some quite involved private or semi-private solutions. So as a part of this bounty, you can explore how you can use this simple primitive to create more complex, like private, semi-private DeFi products or constructs. And now we will definitely include a link to the shielder. You can also find it in our GitHub organization. And as for the tooling / infrastructure, then here it's also a very open-ended category. So anything that you think might benefit the Ink developers is a good fit. Like for more concrete examples would be, we have this Scout tool for like static analysis of Ink code, and they have different detectors for different types of vulnerabilities. Maybe you can create some new detectors for Scout. This is just an idea off the top of my head, right? Maybe something that is able to parse the binary WebAssembly blobs of the contracts and extract some information. This is also quite challenging, but possibly quite interesting, right? But like I said, sky is the limit, and Ink is a relatively young ecosystem, so the tooling is not as mature as possibly in other ecosystems. So definitely there's some room to shine for you. And the bounty amounts will be 2,000 USD or USDC, I believe, for the first place, 1,000 for the second place, and $500 for the third place. And yeah, I think that's mostly it from my side.
Thanks very much, Peter. I just posted the date. It's 27th of November. We're starting the hackathon, and we'll have another kickoff session during this time. But until then, we'll have, of course, a technical session that we mentioned, where we'll introduce building smart contracts with Ink. So for everyone that's not familiar with Ink, this is a great session for you to basically get up to speed. Thanks, Peter, for introducing Aleph Zero, for introducing the hackathon as well. Now, I would like to open the floor for questions from everyone here that's participating. You can ask anything about Aleph Zero or about the hackathon. You can use either the chat or raise your hand and yeah, just ask. Okay, I see Tanner raising his hand. Tanner, can you unmute yourself and then ask your question?
Yes, actually, it's related to Aleph Zero itself. I just wondered, for example, in Monero, we can't see the transactions on the blockchain. I mean, we can do, however, as the user, we can see. For Aleph Zero, this situation is same, or everybody can see the transactions on their blockchain, I mean, in their blockchain.
So full disclaimer here, I know next to, well, maybe not next to nothing, but I'm by no means a privacy expert, so treat everything I say with a grain of salt. But in general, Aleph Zero is a public blockchain, so any transaction you make is visible on the blockchain. Now, the idea behind the shielder is that basically what's inside these transactions is basically some cryptographic, magic stuff, instead of just plain who sent what where and stuff like that. But actually, let me, instead of giving you a semi true answer based on my understanding, let me just post a link to the docs where you'll be able to read about how this works. Yeah. This idea will probably feel familiar.
And actually, when you said static analysis, I just thought something like Slither. I mean, we can design such thing in the hackathon, if I understood correctly, or.
So what I meant was this tool called. Let me just find the repo. Okay, this tool called Scout, and it's actually quite interesting to extend if anyone wants that. But if you want to create a separate tool that maybe does something, approaches the thing at a slightly different angle, then I think it's a great idea as well. But here in the chat is what I was talking about.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay, anyone else has a question?
Hey, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Can I ask? Yeah, thank you. So I'm wondering, do we have to use zero knowledge proof, implement zero knowledge proof circuits, etc. In ink and all, or how does that privacy comes from?
So in the bounty description, I believe it's mostly about using the shielder. So in theory, you could do it without ever, going deep into the zero knowledge proofs. But okay. It is, if you want to explore the. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the help here. Yeah, but of course the chain does have some ZK capabilities, and to be honest, I think for now the best way to learn about them is basically take a look at the shielder's source code and see how this is implemented. Let me paste the relevant link.
Okay, I will just add something. So
Sure.
Everyone that registered for this session will also receive the link to the landing page of the hackathon, where you can read the problem statement basically with these 3 categories for bounties, and you can find all the information regarding them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. A follow-up question, like in case of Ethereum, when we write circuits in Circum, using a Snark.js, we can create the Solidity file, the verifier Solidity file, and that we can deploy as a smart contract on Ethereum. So similarly, is there a tool available which converts or generates the ink contract, or do we not need at all such kind of thing?
To be honest, I am not sure, and like I said, I'm not very much in the
Okay, no worries.
space myself, so I don't want to give you false information. So sorry for that.
Maybe we can
No
answer
worries.
this question in the next session, in the technical session when we have it. Maybe you can ask this question again.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yes, of course.
So does the project have to be unique in quotes, or do you have to show an example of how it can be used, Aleph Zero?
Sorry, could you repeat? Because
I mean, for example, for this hackathon, does the project have to be unique, or do you have to prove a use case? Can it be a simple example just that shows the use case?
Right. It's a good question. I think for the more detailed guidelines, what the project should be, we will publish that later. Actually, sorry, Maria, for not publishing this earlier. That's on me. But so the answer to this question is it kind of depends. So if you have a great idea, and it's something really awesome, something really unique, then of course, if it's not a full-fledged project but just like a small proof of concept, then I think it's okay. Similarly, or actually conversely, if you have a project that's maybe it's not doesn't invent anything new necessarily, but is very well executed and kind of almost deployment ready and everything, then I think it's also okay, right? So we have this like we look at a few different categories. So like execution would be one thing, so how well this is written and so on. The second one would be innovation. So whether this is just a copy of some concept. I'm not talking about a copy of the code, because that obviously is quite bad, but a copy of the concept, or is it something unique and genuine? Another category would be probably, and quite an important one, would be relevance to the Aleph Zero ecosystem, right? If this gets developed further, will the users of the Aleph Zero blockchain be able to benefit from it? And to be honest, this last category is the only one that we treat like strictly. So if the project is completely irrelevant to the chain, then obviously it's not a good submission. But all of the other ones, if your project shines in one category and kind of lacks in the other, it's okay, basically. I hope this answers the question. Sorry for the horribly long answer.
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Right, before Tanner, I'm sorry, just before you ask your question, for your ideas, guys, I suggest you join our Discord channel where we have the Aleph Zero group. And you can pitch your ideas there, or you can write your ideas there for your hackathon project, and then the Aleph Zero team can give you feedback about your ideas before you start building. This has proven very successful in the past, because they can also give you tips around how to build this exact idea, or some similar projects that have been built and what technology they have used. So they can definitely help you fast track your development if you share your ideas and ask for feedback. We will leave the link here to the Discord server where you can join the Aleph Zero Hackathon there. Also, we can discuss this on our Telegram group. We also have a Telegram group where you can tell your ideas and receive some feedback. We'll also leave the link here in the chat in a few seconds. Okay, so Tanner, please ask your question.
I just wondered, in this hackathon, can we put any license like MIT or another, or is prohibited? on our repo?
I don't have an answer for this right now. I mean, I think any reasonably permissive open source license on the repo is okay. I don't think I have seen a private repo at a hackathon before, or like using like a closed license. But actually, thanks for bringing it up, and I'll need to confirm this because I'm not like the legal mastermind here.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Hello, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
For example, I have some 3D objects. I want to sell them on-chain. Is that possible with ZK? For example, I want to upload all my files to blockchain. If encrypted, if anyone purchased this item, this man can download. But if don't buy, this isn't possible. Is that possible with Aleph Zero?
Yes, it is, and actually, I've seen a private marketplace proof of concept before at a hackathon, so it is possible, and probably it will not be 100% on chain, so it will be some combination of on chain and off chain storage and logic actually, but yeah, possible.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Anyone else with a question? You can also ask in the chat if you want.
I have a question, another question. Let's
Yeah,
say
sure.
two projects are quite similar in terms of the execution and the idea. What would become the difference in that case?
That's a tough question, sir. So if two projects, two submissions are similar, am I understanding this correctly? Well, if they are identical, then well, this not cool basically. But if they implement the same idea, so like let's say, I don't know, two projects will decide to do a decentralized exchange, right? Then basically, if the code is not the same piece of code, then they will be judged just as any other solution. So then no problem.
All right. So I don't see any more hands. I don't see anything in the chat. I guess we have no more questions here. Perfect. So thank you, Peter, very much for this presentation and for answering all questions. In case any of you guys have more questions, and of course, if you want to get feedback about your hackathon project ideas, you can use the Discord or the Telegram group. We have posted them in the chat. So please join there and yeah, ask your questions there. If not, we're going to see each other during the next session, which is going to be the technical session. And let me quickly share the link here again for the technical session in case you missed that. Let me quickly do that. Okay, so this is the next session that we'll have with Aleph Zero, where we will show how to build smart contracts with Ink. You can register for this session and participate. It's in November. And it's very important, if you're not familiar with Ink, to participate, because you have to use Ink to build your hackathon project, right? So thanks very much for participating, and have a great evening. Thanks, Peter.
Actually, if I may,
Yeah,
you kind of have to use Ink, except for one project that I think might be quite interesting. If you are able to take a different programming language, write a smart contract in it, and run it on chain, then I think it's on the Aleph Zero chain, of course, then I think it's interesting. So like if you're able to compile your language to WASM to produce a valid smart contract ABI and like the valid WASM blob, then I think it would be interesting. Quite challenging, I think, but yeah. But other than that, yeah, the submissions will have to be in ink purely in order to work on the A0 blockchain.
Actually, only for Solidity users or for someone who knows Rust really good, it's easy to understand ink.
Yeah. It's basically Rust, but with some additional macros and a subset of Rust. So yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Another question: how long is the hackathon? From 27 to which date?
Yes, it's 3 weeks until the 15th of December.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, one more thing. You can also build teams on the Discord server and on Telegram. We have a dedicated channel for the team building section where we have like a template, how to introduce yourself, tell about your skills, and look for partners to do this hackathon with. So let's say you don't have an idea for the hackathon, you can still find someone that has an idea and then build their project idea, or vice versa, you have an idea, but let's say you need a UI UX developer or you need a front-end developer, whatever, you can find someone like this on the Discord channel and build a team with them. All right. In case there are no more questions, I'm leaving a couple of more seconds for raising hands or writing in the chat for questions. But I don't think we have more. So thanks everyone very much for your participation.
Hey, just a quick question.
Oh, all right.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. So the award winners, do they have to come to a party? I mean, an announcement center somewhere, or
yes, we go to Ibiza. We go to Ibiza afterwards.
Okay,
I'm joking.
cool.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh. Okay, so fully remote everything. Okay, that's cool. No worries. I was just curious. Thanks.
Yeah. Sure. You're welcome.
Actually, I forgot to ask, in this hackathon, will we benefit from Arduino or Raspberry Pi? Because I was using them in the past and I just wondered it. I mean, that, yeah.
It's not necessarily like a point we will use in our grading, but if you think you can create, well, okay, no, the answer is not really, just because it's an online hackathon, so it would be quite hard to judge this and everything. So I would say not really. You will get like, we encourage you to take a look at the drink and ink wrapper for they are going to be linked in the materials that we're gonna provide soon. So this like developer tooling that we are working on, yeah.
All right. Now for the third or fourth time, thanks everyone and have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.